Hello, podcasters and people in the mindset space. This video is going to be really fast because I've got to explain something that's difficult to explain, and it really takes over an hour. But I'm going to try and do this in a good 10 minutes to give you the faith to watch the hour-long version. The part that's difficult to explain is this is the actual meaning of life. And that sounds strange, doesn't it? But I know that it is, because you'll agree that it is when you hear about it, and it leads to amazing, immediate changes and a healthy world. It includes the quickest runway to personal transcendence, to transcend our reactive selves and to become the people that we really want to be and our most effective version of ourselves. Really quickly. It only takes a week. But it also comes with it, with love equals energy, comes the end of war, the end of bullying, the end of loneliness, and the unity of science and religion. Really deep stuff, and it will happen almost immediately. And a result of both these things is that we will solve fusion and global warming by far in the fastest possible time. That is the current effort times 10,000 more like, yeah? Not just times 100, it'll be a lot, because it really is important. And we're all going to be so well. We're going to be enthusiastically solving those two things, i.e. almost in a fun way. It'll be like a sporting competition. Now, I know this because I've been looking at these diagrams. I made these diagrams, and I've been living with these ideas for a couple of years. But I'm going to go through them fast now, because the meaning of life I can explain in just 4 diagrams. The first one just establishes that everything tells us that we are love. All the gurus, psychologists, priests, everybody, artists. The second one asks, well, who were we 10,000 years ago? And the answer is, we were love. Love-based society. This is the intellect-based society which currently is failing. Ultimately, we need to tether the intellect back to the heart in order to really find ourselves. It's all a question of identity. This diagram shows clearly that we live in a love universe, that we are the fruit of the universe, but we need this junction between our experience and everything that we see. So we're going to start by changing the word love. We think of it as an eternal experience, but realistically, our whole body is required to support consciousness. So love, in a scientific manner, can be expanded to mean everything that's good for a human being. That is kindness and community, but also air, food, water. So when somebody brings you food, it's an act of love, right? When we think of it that way, we can look at a rabbit and say, well, a rabbit needs soft ground to burrow into, so that would be part of rabbit love. And plants need nutrients in the soil, so that would be part of plant love. That is to say, to go on to the next frame in the universe, to carry on in a thriving manner, requires the conditions of love, which is simply adequate conditions to support that item. That's in this diagram that's coming next. And it takes it down to the next level as well. It talks about cellular love, molecular love, and in fact, we can also apply it to the quantum mechanical. When you think about this a little while and let it soak in, you can realize you can say this statement here, that love is actually the quantum mechanical process of our evolving universe. This is all 100% correct and fitting with everything we know in a logical way. So that means we can then write this formula, love equals energy. It's to say we are love in a universe of love. And the synonyms of love are God, truth, beauty, energy, the universe, reality, these sorts of things. Now, this can work as a token, because now we can say, well, here's a field of 1 billion blades of grass and they're all thriving. So how come humanity isn't thriving? Well, it's because of our reactivity, because of the fear program. Now we're going to do 4 diagrams that show the fastest path to human enlightenment, which includes that wonderful enlightenment experience of liberation and relief. for most people. This diagram explains, the diagram is on the side anyway. I find it useful to have it here so that I can point as well. Most people and society is living down here in this disheartened state. We call it depression. We're living in a world of fear. The doors are all closed. All the opportunities are gone. When we move ourselves into this space here, now we're living in a world of love. It's natural wellness, and all of these lovely aspects of love return. The doors are all open and opportunities abound. People want to work with these people. People love to serve these people. That's all of us when we're behaving with a heart of love. Traditionally, we know this as a know thyself moment, that point in a person's life when they can get a strong overview of everything that's happened, and they have the information, the true information, where they can file this information in a place where it no longer affects them badly. And from that point on, success after success will happen. This diagram is to do with the visual explanations of what's going on. We start off as love, and the fear program messes up the love. But we can remove the fear program by simply adding a word to it. Currently it's fight, flight, freeze and fawn, but we're going to add formulate and say that all humans use that one. When we formulate, we think twice and we respond in a sensible way. I call this the Jesus diagram because we all start as love. This diagram I call the Buddhist diagram because it represents the ego, and it says that it's unavoidable that in the early course of our lives we gather sensitive areas and we become reactive, and it can get quite bad by the age of 20. But by using love to heal, and remember, love is the only thing that can heal emotionally, we can clean that bulb and let that original love just shine right through. How do we do it? We use love, but we break it up into 4 parts. We call it kindness, forgiveness, acceptance, and gratitude. So this is the KFAG model. We end up doing a process where we have deep thought and we process all of our earlier experiences with these beautiful tools which allow us to comfortably and safely go into ourselves and refile all of those experiences in a manner where we can then gently close the door on them and say that we've dealt with them. This is called understanding the past, and it's step 1. It only needs to take a couple of hours spread out over a weekend. It's very relaxing and a wonderful experience. Step 2 is communication recovery, because all those old experiences did change the way that we relate to other people and the way we relate to ourselves. So with communication recovery, we find out from the resource of all human knowledge what works, what's the right way to be when we're talking with other people, how to lead, all of these wonderful attributes. Step 3 is simply maintenance, doing a little yoga in the morning and getting your mindset into the position of truth before you go and start your day and have a wonderful day. We journal to keep track of everything. Now then, when we woke up this morning, we're thinking we're living in a world that is unstable. We know what happened 100 years ago, and we don't want that to happen again. But it turns out that society, Love Equals Energy, is telling us now that we are at this point right now, because we're all joined with our phones, where we can vote and lock in the human identity. We can say that we are love. We can all get ourselves well and start behaving in a manner that we enjoy, but it also leads to us purposefully, each as individuals, wanting to stand up straight, dress well, and present ourselves well. This is going to change everything about the world almost immediately. There are 2 stories to do with human civilization. One is the story of bullying, where we just get better at battling and killing each other. The other story is where we are trying to understand ourselves. We start from Buddha and Socrates, Aristotle, Jesus, Galileo, Darwin, and now Love Equals Energy. On this channel, if we all subscribe, at some point there'll be 1 million subscribers, and the world will think, oh, what's going on there? And we'll realize all of these ideas are true and applicable for the entire globe. It'll lead to a position where we have transcended our animal origins by becoming non-reactive as a species. It's going to be supported by all people of the world, including all the biggest companies, because they are us too. This information, this meaning of life, crazily, is this point where we know thyself. And from this point on, we're going to be able to make some changes which everybody will love. So those big companies are going to understand and realize that this is the perfect time and the right time then to create a reconfiguration of knowledge. This will be built digitally. In the middle will be love equals energy. It's our identity. Around that will be a way to be, which is that short runway to transcendence. Surrounding that will be all human history, and from that radiates all our current human knowledge. Because all of the scientists and priests and therapists of the world will be saying this is the way to go, governments will have license to say immediately to their school, education ministers, etc., we want this information to those high school students immediately. Within a year or two, we'll have graduates that actually know themselves and are enthusiastic, creative individuals, willing to learn, and they'll be able to learn fantastically quickly and without cost because of the reconfiguration of knowledge. So we ultimately just need a nice accreditation system that works so that we can find our way in this place, yeah? The doomsday clock will be able to be thrown away. This is all immediate. It won't take long for this to happen. In society, we have two halves, the natural wisdom, which is represented by religion and spiritual paths, plus we have natural logic, which is represented by science. When we put love equals energy in the middle, both sides will enthusiastically grab onto it, because this is, after all, what Jesus said. Love is everything. Love equals energy. And science, of course, we just recognize how this is perfect and is going to lead us into this next phase of being human. It means that all churches and spiritual places in every town around the world will probably be open all day Sunday, offering free tea and cakes. And it'll allow their spaces to be used for all those people who are becoming well, locked in their rooms, and who want to now come out and meet other people. This is the end of loneliness. Over 20 years, people in China and Russia will soften in their way and will no longer support things to do with war. In 20 years, we won't think of having wars anymore. It'll seem like a crazy idea. So the idea here is that welfare will happen, but it will be really effective. We'll get help to people who need help. But at the same time, those people will be saying, we're good, because they'll have done the mindset thing. And as long as their conditions are reasonable, they're going to start to thrive on their own as well within the conditions they're in. So this is just going to be something which we tune into the news each night, because this is what the news will be about. For the next 10 years, it's going to be a massive kind of coming of age party. This last sentence kind of puts it all in a nutshell. We can trust this path. It's free, scalable, unifying, fully transparent. It's almost instant. Can be communicated using 12 images alone, because there are 2 others that introduce the whole subject, and is fully in accord with all human knowledge. This is the meaning of life. Strangely, it really does fix everything immediately, as if this has happened before sometime. Note, there are 0 other paths to global well-being. Okay, so that's the quick version of what this is. So hopefully you agree that this sounds quite reasonable, and you're willing to go for that extra hour and allow these ideas to sink in. It may take a week because nobody's expecting this. But the ideas never disappear. It's clearly the right thing to do next, and we should do it as soon as possible. Okay, if you have a podcast, please get me on it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.